Είμαστε εδώ με την Carrie και την Tsen Beaver. Θα μιλήσουμε για την ταινία τους Power Realms στο φετινό τέταρτο κινηματογραφικό φεστιβάλ της Βένετης. So, Carrie, welcome.
Thank you.
To our festival, and Tsen, how do you feel being in Greenwood?
Loving it. Yeah, everybody's so hospitable, and we just feel really, really welcome here, and we're so excited to see all the films as well. It's great.
Thank you for coming, and hope you have a nice weekend in the city. It's a festival about monologues mostly, but also about innovative films like yours that I would say it's not always easy to have these films watched in the usual festivals, and from the market we see that less and less these kind of films are selected. How do you feel about the market of the film festivals nowadays?
I think the kind of thoughts are that the markets of the film festival, it depends which festivals you put your films into. So I think I was careful to select some of the film festivals that might be more sympathetic to the narrative of what I was writing about and to the style as well. But I think the more film festivals like Ladies Monologues, the more we kind of push these kind of more alternative and more intimate kind of portrayals of what is to be human, the more that we can expose that and show it as a way, the better. So yes, answer to that question, I'd say it's not ideal, but you've got to, festivals like this need to keep happening.
Festivals, I guess, have their themes to them. So then if your film doesn't necessarily fit into that theme, sometimes that can be one of the things that, it's important, as you were saying, to really get an idea of what the festival is and what its ethos is, so you can see that your film matches it. And I think by the sounds of it, it really does for this one.
Well, I'm very much a person that takes care of other people and helps people generate their ideas, and my whole ethos is becoming geese, that we're all part of a flock and we take it in turns. And when it was coming to decide what to make this film about, I could have chosen lots of different scripts that I got there, but I had the attitude of we've only got one life, and actually I've done so much helping other people with their stories. Perhaps this is time for my story, and I had this novel that I'd started writing 29 years ago in 1996-97. And it was waiting to be finished, and with the mood singer in it, and that was part of my personal exploration of what had happened to me when my grandmother died. Well, I already had the novel, so I'd spent a lot of time working out, how to write for that kind of short story novel audience, and then how to write a script. So I basically, I just quickly just channeled it through, and then did multiple edits within that week. I think the main thing is that I wrote the script, but then when it came to looking at the film material, it was rewritten then as well, as you know, that really often happens within the edit too. Yeah, I knew the central character was Corinne. I knew that the mood singer was the main. She's a bit of a Baba Yaga kind of character. She represents a lot. And then I brought in the character of Uncle Charlie and Sally, because I knew that they needed some other beings to bring the story out. But I also had the actors already of Tsen and Gregory Bonner, who played Charlie.
Tsen is going to play from the first place?
I asked her because I didn't trust many people with my story to get it across in the right way.
Yeah, I remember you asking, because we did a test shoot of a shorter film, didn't we, to test out what sort of narrative would be. And I remember you asking me, and I was in the middle of my training, so like halfway through. And it was quite a lovely moment, really, because it's like this turning point of when you actually claim your story and then share it. And I felt really honoured to be able to do that for you, and to have that opportunity as well, because it's not often that in your training. I was like apprehensive that, can I do this? Like, this is quite a close story, and how do I create that, like, that barrier or boundary so that I don't go too far into the personal, because I think that can then blur lines.
Yeah, it was risky, wasn't it? Really risky.
But we really worked on making sure that Corinne was a character in herself, and I wasn't necessarily playing you, I was playing Corinne, and had an idea of who she was and what her history was, which really helped to create that boundary.
How many days were the shooting?
So I guess like 9 days altogether of shooting. Yeah, we went on a location shoot on the Isle of Arran. So we rented out some cottages, and the whole cast and crew went. It was great, wasn't it? Yeah, they went. Corinne and Sally, you two tell the story of what
Yeah, it was really
happened.
interesting because in between shoots we kind of had these moments together that the characters would have had. So we were like swimming in the sea, we went on walks, we were like getting to know the island, and then we had this sense of, oh right, yeah, these are two characters in themselves that we're getting to act out in everyday life as well as just doing the scenes. So that really helped.
I was really lucky because I had another crew member called Abby Stevenson, who was an actor and also an assistant director, and she worked with Wellbeing. So she did all the rehearsing with the actors as well, and so I was, I can't claim the credit for bringing out the acting, well, all the right conditions for you to act at your best. She was fantastic, wasn't she?
She was brilliant.
Yeah.
She really created a safe space for everyone, which was really needed. It's good.
But I did feel, because we'd done the first film, Discovery of Realms, and then we went into this one, Tsen was able to give me lots of tips about what helped her, and because I was a bit like you are here, I was doing producer, cinematographer, director. I think you felt like you needed to look after me more.
Well, I know you really well, and I know when, I know when you're stressed or when something's not quite working, whereas other people might not notice that.
Yeah.
But for me, because we're so close, I'm like, oh, this is, she isn't being held in the right way. Whereas I noticed in the second shoot, you had people there that could support you.
Yeah, and I think that I didn't want Tsen to be stressed about me not being supported. So again, that made me just make sure that we had plenty of people in place. So then my role of just watching was more of that I was just a professional alongside other actors and crew, and we didn't stay together or do a lot of chatting together, did we? We kind of kept it very separate. I think you have to do that. I don't know what the other mother-daughter pairings will say, but definitely for us too, it was making sure that Tsen knew that she belonged with the actors, and I belonged with that director-producer role. And I know that I'm probably ready. I am ready to make another film now. It's lived nearly a year at the moment, but yeah, it feels really good. And we were so exact in the edit. Ryan and I, who shared the edit, he was a cinematographer as well. We got lots of advice. We put it out there to be looked at. So I think, it feels like a story. It doesn't feel like a personal story. So it is, yeah. It very much is about the Scottish mythology. It's about someone who has an experience, who was me originally, and Corinne in the piece of work. And it basically, the realms opened when her grandmother died, and it's around the legacy of Corinne taking on this novel. But really, that as a metaphor, it's more about mapping what happens when you get to those dark edges, and do you get stuck behind the shutters, or do you actually open them up and see that there's other realms that are communicating with us? Yeah.
How close do you think these realms in life are in the end? How close are
I think they weave with us all the time, but we just live with an education and a cultural view, perhaps, that they don't. So for me it gets more and more powerful. It took me on a whole journey of discovery, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about the subject matter of the film as well, that this is a reality, because so many people struggle with their mental health and don't realise that actually we haven't got the guidance, that when we get to these edges, these initiatory edges, in some cases it can be more that we're not big enough to let that transmission service to come through.
like the emotional complexity of some of the scenes really allowed me to explore how do I go into those emotional depths, but then be able to, yeah, and then be able to like not take that further on in myself. And when did I need that time beforehand to get into that state? And then how could I release that? Because then that's no longer mine. Because I think one of the difficulties as an actor is sometimes you can hold those emotions and you can keep them with you, and then they start to.
Did you ever say that I need one more take, or you felt that you need something more, so you needed some takes?
Yeah, and there was a lot of like collaboration with cinematographer and with you, and like me and Ryan at one point had quite a nice dance together.
Oh,
of,
yeah,
like,
with the roller skates.
Yeah, when we did the roller skates.
Yeah, he was being pulled along on a trolley with the camera.
And then we were like having ideas of, yeah. So there was a lot of collaboration, which really, really helped. And I think it's such an important thing for an actor to be able to feel that they have a voice within that as well. So yeah.
So you will work with Carrie
Yeah,
in the
definitely.
future.
Yeah.
It's always a challenge, I think, when you work with relatives. It's always a challenge. Congratulations, you did it. I hope that you give us a map of this parallel realms. We need a map
Where to find them.
to find them, where and how.
Yeah, okay. It's the next film.
Yeah.
The map.
We need it. Thank you very much for being with us.
Well, thank you for having us. An honour too.
Can't wait for the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.